I'll get started with going live. I'm a whole minute early. Well, not a whole minute. It's probably like 30 seconds early, but I'm pretty well on time, all things considered. So, what we're gonna do today is first and foremost, I'm going to be opening some of my C++ classes because we're going to be needing those in a moment. Certainly we will. And we're going to be crashing a lot, most likely, because that's just kind of what I do. Alright, so today I'm just kind of fixing up a lot of stuff to do with the weapon systems. So there's a little few issues that we have, and I just want to clear those up and hopefully finish up all of the system code for it, so that when I add new weapons, it'll be relatively easy to add them. There's one thing that we're not going to be doing today, and that is implementing the weapon unlocking, because frankly, in order to test that, I need a third weapon. And I only have two at the moment. And at that point, I also want to do some rudimentary UI stuff with it. But first things first is going into my let's see, into my player character. So what we're doing right now is really bad, obviously, as far as the gameplay abilities go, because what I'm doing is I'm just giving all of the sword attack gameplay abilities, and then later down the line here I'm giving the scythe attack gameplay abilities just on begin play, which is really bad. So what we're going to do instead is when a item or a weapon is spawned in, that's just going to give those gameplay abilities to the player, and then when it is destroyed again, as it's getting destroyed, it's going to remove those gameplay abilities from the player again. Doesn't necessarily need to remove them, but we'll just do that for potential a little memory savior, because these are not going to then be referenced by the player anymore. So that's going to hopefully be helpful. Maybe, we'll see. I don't think it's going to matter that much. So first things first, we'll get rid of the sword attacks here. What I will I keep the up and down? I'll also get rid of the up and down, that's fine. The just normal player dash we'll keep. Player healing we will also keep, because that's just a general thing that is not really linked to any of the weapons. Same with knockback, area recover. I probably should just put these into an array. And then we have the scythe attacks, which includes the player teleport and scythe special attacks. So we can get rid of all of those, because we're not going to be using that anymore. We're going to be doing some other stuff with that, which is going to be real good, hopefully. So that already cleans up this bit of the blueprint by quite a bit. I need to clean up this blueprint in general a lot more, but there's not that much to it in reality. Let's get rid of these print strings just because. And then also these. It's making things look a little bit more organized and neat. That said though, I do very much want to still connect up this part of the sequence. Now, what we'll do is we'll make a function on the C++ weapon class. And what that will do is it'll just give us the specific abilities, which I think it already has. Hold on, it already has that array, right? That array, we already made that in the past, I think. So if we go to default sword, definitely need to get rid of those. So that is the special attacks. We're not using this anymore. I don't even think we're using the attack distance value. I don't think we're using any of this, I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe we'll still use current attack. I'm not going to get rid of that for the time being yet. But none of this I think we use, do we? We might use this still. No, I think we replace all that code with blueprint code, so we can get rid of all that. This is teleport to enemy, on attack finished. Yeah, I don't think we use any of this anymore. So let's get rid of all that. So at this point, the sword base, literally an empty class. I'm going to get rid of current index as well, because I don't think we use it at all. Let's see if this gives us any compiling errors or not. Probably won't. Might be some other unused functions actually that reference some stuff there. So it might give compiling errors now that I think about it. It literally doesn't. Okay, that's good shit. Now, all that said, the weapon itself does still already have the attacks in it, right? That's special or sword attack 1, 2, 3. So we already have this array of attacks because that's how we decide which attack to do. And then we also already have the up attack and the down attack. So we don't really need to add any values. We just need to apply those values and remove those whenever we spawn in or remove the weapon. So let's go to the weapon CPP and in begin play. Let's do that at the very bottom here. What we'll do is we'll do give abilities in ability array to player / owner. I don't need you to comment my stuff. But we already have a player variable, so that's very, very neat. And let's see if the Copilot code actually makes sense here. So, player character name. Don't need to really log that at the moment, to be honest with you. Why do we need to do the stats components? Yeah, no, this does not make any sense. Nope, that's not what that needs to do at all. What we need to do is player get ability system component, I think it's called. Get ability. Why does that not work? That should just work, right? Unless I probably need to include the ability system component for that, or at least the interface. Probably, I need to include both anyway. But let's check the variable type for player just so that I know what we're working with. We're working with a normal A character. That should still be fine. Just need to real quick jump in here. That's definitely the wrong class. That's the Action RPG build. What I need is the CPP file for the character. And here we need to find out which... So I think we just need the ability system component include, because we're working with that. And that should then also immediately probably give me access to the corresponding interface. But we're about to find out. So let's test my theory. Kind of insane that I didn't yet have an ability system component. We'll figure it out. Get ability system component. Do you even know what this is? Because I thoroughly do believe that Copilot just made that up. Like, this all makes sense. But I don't think that this is going to compile. So, we also need to include the ability system interface, probably. which is fine in the weapon class. Because when we include this, that should then instantly fix any issues there. And now hovering over it should tell me some stuff. It's gonna load, but at least it's loading something. Didn't do that before. I'm just going to try again and see if we get... It won't let us do that. I'm going to try to compile and see if it yells at me. Because it might not. Get ability system component is not a member of a character. It should be. Oh, you are right. It's not. It is not. But that shouldn't matter because this is an interface call. So why? I mean, we can change this to being, instead of a character, we can just make this, what is it? A action RPG project character, for which we're going to need a different include. Because we don't have that one, I'm gonna go ahead and guess. So let's not player stats component. Why do you think I give a shit about the player stats components? Projects character. Now, let's see. If we include this instead, can we not give abilities, get ability system components? We can. Fantastic. Then from there, we can give the abilities and we can do all this stuff. This should work now. Now, attack data asset is not what I want to give them, actually. But we'll get back to this in a moment, because now we want to do a for each loop. So for each ability in the array. And abilities is the proper one, right? Have gameplay ability bind info. I don't know that that is what I set up, but maybe it is. It's been a while. No, it's not. I have attacks, that's what it's called. Okay, so attacks. Let's see if this compiles and if this runs. Those are the two most important things. They should. They should. Maybe they won't. I don't know. Doesn't compile. That's a fucking start. No, that makes sense. Because I have a subfolder there, which Copilot refuses to fucking recognize. So we simply put in that subfolder, and now it will be able to recognize that include. Or not. The fuck is Wrong. Cannot access private meta get ability system components. I must be missing something here because I'm directly calling the version of it on the player. Yeah, definitely that's not the way to do it, right? I mean, I can try, but that's gonna definitely fail as well, because I'm fairly confident that that ability system component, yeah, is also an issue. So, how do I... Am I missing something? Unreal... Is there something that I'm missing about calling an interface function? There's more people running into this issue. I don't even care about a function with parameters. I just need to run an interface function. Like, can somebody just give me a fucking straightforward answer without writing a whole essay about it? Because I'm not going to be like doing any deep reading while I'm live on stream. People linking through Blueprint interfaces. I know how they work. I just need to know if there's anything specifically in C++ that I'm glazing over because it's been like 3 months since I've done this in C++. Look, I love people helping online on the Unreal forums, but people on the Unreal forums have a really fucking bad habit of not answering the questions that people ask of them, and instead just writing an essay that is, if you're lucky, tangentially related. Using an interface with a C++ class. This should be good. I know how to implement them. I know how to program them. The only thing that I need to know is how to fucking call them from another class. I'm not going to read the entire article. Can I just call? Blueprint callable. That's all U function related. That's U function related. Okay, let's see. To determine if an actor has implements an entire version C++, simply cast to your class to the interface. If it returns null, the object is not using it. If it is successful, you can use that pointer to cast to the interface to call your function. Okay. So, hold on a moment. Cast player to ability system interface. And then we have this. Get ability system component, give ability. That will be attacks, not abilities. What? Where even is abilities as a value? Do I have? No, I don't know why it keeps coming up with that, but this should now work. Okay, that is not at all intuitive, the way that works. But now that I know it's probably not that big a deal. What the fuck are you talking about with abilities being undeclared? Oh, that's what I'm saying. I don't even have anything called abilities, so I don't know what the hell you're on about. It was also bitching about another issue. Yeah, there we go. Cast from base to the right requires dynamics cast or static casts. 64. Oh, yeah, we don't need that to be that specific class anymore. So player can just be a character. That's fine. So how is everybody doing today? As you can see, I am as chaotic as ever. But at least that works now. So now I should be able to, even though I'm not giving those abilities inside of my player character anymore, they should now be given to me through the begin play of my weapon, and I should still be able to use them. And it seems like I can. That is fantastic. What I probably cannot do, however, is use my down attack, which I don't even think I have code for triggering that anymore, to be honest with you, because I might just get rid of that, to be honest, because it wasn't working very well. So, matter of fact, I actually just made the executive decision. We're going to get rid of up and down attacks, because that saves me a little bit of animation. Up attack and down attack. See ya. You're gone. That's probably going to result in some issue somewhere, I'm sure. Maybe not, actually. Actually, no, I don't think that will, because yeah, we're not really doing anything with that anymore at all, ever. I've been working on this game for, it kind of depends how you start counting, about a year and a half, I think. It took me like 5 months before I switched engines, though. So at some point last year, I switched from Unity back to using Unreal, because I was just... This started as a practice project in Unity, and then I figured, hey, actually, I don't really like Unity, but I do like this game. So I switched back to Unreal Engine and restarted everything. But that then took another like 3 months to do. So that's why, like, do you count those 5 months plus the year minus 3 months? Do you start counting when I went back to Unreal? Do you start counting from after I rebuilt everything in Unreal? It's kind of a messy question. If you just from the start of the making of the first project to today, it's about 1.5 years. So now let's also, when we remove the weapon, which is it on end play or on destroy? I think on destroy is a delegate actually. Unreal end play, I think it is called, right? AX or end play, yes. So we'll just put that in there. Virtual void end play. Don't really need a reason, to be honest. I will log end play weapon. Super end play. It's probably a good thing to include. For each ability in array, remove gameplay ability from player. That's more or less what we want, except we don't actually want that. We want to... Let's just copy over this actually. And now we don't want to give ability, but instead what we want to do is we want to first get these brackets in order. Holy hell. Remove ability from player. That should do it now, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to try Unity before like jumping into any bigger project. I've been working with Unreal for about like 2 years off and on at that point. Oh, that's not good. Something's going wrong with this function call. I was like, okay, let's give Unity a shot because the better support for like 2D games seemed like a good option to have, but I like tried Unity. I got decently like into it, and it helped me like develop skills in just like more traditional coding instead of only Blueprint. So that was real good to be forced to do that. But I decided, you know what, I don't really like Unity. And then later they did that whole monetization thing, which I'm very glad by that point I had already left back to Unreal. Not least of which because making some videos about that transition was a really good thing, because when that whole thing happened, let's say that those videos got quite a lot of views in like that month. What's wrong with the function call here? Let's take a look. Cannot convert argument f gameplay ability spec to spec handle. Oh, do we need to... Oh, I'm trying to... That's the wrong function call. Clear ability. Let's just check what it wants here. It wants... Not GitHub Copilot, please. What I want is I want you to just... Tell me... Ability handle spec. We can do that. We can make an array of that. Where's my attacks? I would very much like to have those close together. There we go. Ability handle spec array. And then when we do this, do we like pass in a reference or something? Or does this just return a spec? This probably just returns one, right? Yeah. So we... What do we call it? Ability handles. Dot add. And we just fucking add that whole thing. Let's make this a little bit more readable. And with a little bit, I mean a little bit. Like, this is not very readable still. But at least it's a little bit more manageable. And then when we clear ability, we just do that. It's kind of hard to test whether or not this will work. It's the only issue. Because it's hard to tell whether or not an ability has been removed. At least it compiles. That's a good start. Let's also like dock the output log real quickly. Give ability called with an invalid ability class. That's not a great sign. Can I attack? I can attack. Can I switch weapons? And it even said I'm going to hold on. Let's change my output device here real quick to this. Yeah. Now, did it and play a weapon? Okay, so and play does run. Can I now do these attacks? I can. That animation still is fucked up. Gonna need to fix that for a for a moment there. But that does actually straight up just now grant the abilities. The one thing that it doesn't do is grant the, yeah, I know, it's trying to give abilities. I don't even know which abilities it's trying to grant that's not working out, but the actual fuck? Sure. Something crashed there. I'm going to blame live coding for that and pretend like it's not my my code that is the issue. Also, I'm going to check whether or not that text message that I just got was important or not, because this is going to take like a second. 10 seconds, as a matter of fact. It's just that fast. Good timing, really. Because I'm not going to be able to answer about a text message after all, because it's a voice note, and I'm not going to listen to that live on stream for obvious reasons. I was saying something. Something about good timing, I believe. Oh well. Maybe it was actually live coding. That was the issue there. I have to imagine that it was, because what else? What did I remove that could have had to do with being near an enemy? Because that's what made the game crash. Very clearly. Is walking up to an enemy is what made things crash. Do I have any code that I just removed in the sword-based class, or even in the weapon class itself, that would have had anything to do with that at all? I guess we're about to fucking find out. Nope, was just a live coding thing. Now, this, I won't be able to do my special attack anymore. So, those still aren't being granted. So, let's add those. On the weapon. With the attacks, we also want a, you know, that works. Special attacks, indeed, except that that does not need to be a T array, because it's only going to be one ability. And then in here we want to have a handle for that as well. So are you gonna get this? Copilot did get it. And from there it's relatively easily just after that entire for each loop, what we do is we also do ability handles dot. We might as well, actually. Yeah, we might as well. I don't think we particularly need to have a separate ability handle for that. Well, we do, but it can just be in that array. So let's just do it that way. Give abilities instead of attacks 0 though, which we don't want. We want to give it the special attack. Special. Copilot, what the fuck am I paying you for if you don't do your job correctly? Yeah, it doesn't do a good enough job. Actually, the ability spec, what are the parameters for that? It doesn't even say. Can I just like F12 this and see? It probably is, if we open up the blueprints here, to check real quick. We might come back to this at some point in the future. It probably is the level and the input ID. I think about it. So yeah, no, that's all fine. So let's compile again. Or not. Weapon.h. Where am I fucking up? That needs to be a pointer. That's entirely fair. No, it doesn't need to be a pointer. It is a T subclass of. I am just losing my mind. Again, it's been a long week. Man, it's been a long month. Honestly. Which is funny because it's literally the shortest month of the year. February, that is. Of course, we're in March now. Which, at the start of the stream, I was bitching about. How the fuck is it already March? What happened? Now we have our special attacks here. And that probably should be... like teleport attack, player teleport attack, I think it is. And then for the scythe we have a different ability, so let's also put that one in. And there we have, I think I just called this scythe attack. Scythe special attack, there we go. Time flies. Oh no, I don't like it. I would much rather time slows down a little bit. So I actually have time to do everything that I need and then want to do as well. But I suppose that's just kind of what happens. Now, can I still cannot. Why can I not? Because when I'm trying to do the special attack, I'm not trying to do the attack that is... I'm trying to do a specific attack. That's the issue. I have a thing somewhere, surely, maybe. Special attack, there we go. So what we need to do is get our weapon, child actor, cast that to weapon. Oh, hold on, we can keep all this. We just need to have like this value. Special needs to be a U property. It is a U property, so I'm just an idiot. Cat special attacks. And we need to just plug that into there. So now it should be trying to execute the specific ability on each weapon rather than a hard-coded just we're using this as testing ability. So now that seems to work. Let's switch weapons, and that also seems to work. Still some animation stuff that needs to be done with that specific attack. And there's some animations that need to be updated in general. But the weapon ability, like storage part of this whole equation, now is all up to date. So that's really good. Yeah, time only goes faster the older you get, which means that it's only going to get worse, and I'm only going to have comparatively like less time from like a perception perspective, which is not good. That said, I believe like when you reach about like 40 something on average, it kind of like averages out from what I understand. Means that I still have like well over a decade to go before I get there. So it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Well, it's not gonna get better, but at least it's gonna get like not even worse at some point. So for now, being very stressed for like 2 decades straight is kind of just the name of the game, I guess. Okay, now let's fix the fact that the weapon disappears in combat, because it really shouldn't do that. And the way to fix that is super fucking easy, and that is just saying, hey, our event for vanishing and appearing the weapon, that is just simply going to be checking, I think it's in game mode, cast game, get game mode. That's how I'm gonna get cast to like action RPG game mode, I think it's called. There we go. We'll get somewhere. Battle. Get is, I don't even know if that's a U property. I don't think it is. So let's try to find... I also need a new fucking mouse, because I just literally cannot scroll with the mouse that I have right now, as you can see. And it's been that way for a while, but I'm starting to get really fucking tired of it. Okay, is in battle. That's a bool in here, which should be a U property, but apparently is not. So let's make that a U property. Blueprint, rewrite. Oh, sure, why not? I don't see any reason for Blueprint to be able to write to that at the moment, but I feel like in the future that's going to be a thing that we use that for, so... get in battle. That is appear weapon and show weapon. I don't know why I have 2 separate events for that, but at this point I'm too afraid to touch it. So we're just gonna go with it, because I don't think it matters that much. So if you are not in battle, you will be allowed to disappear your weapon. But that's only... Oh, hold on. Actually, no, that is an issue. That's why. That's why I have 2 different events for that. Now I remember. Because... I don't remember which one is which. The weapon appearing actually can happen at any given time. That literally does not matter. We can always have the weapon appear. It's only the disappearing that we should check this for. So that helps. now I just gotta figure out which one of those I call. And the easiest way to do that is to just go into my sword attack base, which somewhere in here calls that, I believe. Reset combo, hide weapon. So after an attack, we check hide weapon, and we only check that if, or we only do that if we are currently not in battle. So now it should stop disappearing while in battle, but still disappear while we're not in battle. At which point the only thing that we need to do is, if we are in battle and the battle ends, it also needs to disappear after a certain amount of time. We'll worry about that when we get to it. But for now, this weapon should disappear in like 4, 5, 3, yeah. But if we go into here, we're now in battle, it should not disappear at all. And it seems like that is working, but it will still play those particles when I switch, right? Yes, it will. Now the question becomes, does this disappear for any weird-ass reason while we're in battle? It does not seem to, so that's good. But if I run the fuck away, let's just reset the level real quick. Or just do this, that also works. It should still disappear now. It does. Okay, fantastic. Good start. So now, what we do is but the thing is that this is so linked to the dynamic music system as well that I still need to make. I don't really look forward to that because I'm not like a very musically gifted person. Like there's a lot of things that I can do decently well. Music, definitely not one of them. So combining that with like code scares me a lot. So for now, I guess what we'll do is very good question. How will we do this for now? I guess we can just go in here. In the change in battle, and then if in battle is true, we do one thing. If battle is full, what we'll do is do I have like a player value on this yet? Probably not, right? Player. I've got an audio player. That's something. Oh, I do have a player. It's just not capitalized. Because why would you ever give good variable names? Player. Set timer to vanish weapon. Copilot, come through for me. Please. I really need you to. Just set timer. Come on. I forgot the exact syntax for this. Surely you know it. No? I think it's something like get world time manager, set timer. And then what we do is we get the player. Like, that's not a C++ thing, is it? I made that in Blueprint, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I really love Copilot. Sometimes it just refuses to generate something. And like the chat functionality that it has is good for somewhat more complicated stuff than just coding like this. To just have a little bit more back and forth. I find that this is specifically for Unreal related stuff not the best, but that's probably because ChatGPT in general for Unreal related stuff is not the best. And this feels like it runs over ChatGPT. So other than that, I really like Copilot for just quality of life stuff. It's not going to like improve your coding specifically massively. It does some really dumb stuff sometimes. Like very hard-coded stuff. It really likes throwing just a bunch of if statements or switch statements in something which doesn't need it. So it's not particularly good at like designing good systems. But what it does do very well is just look at your own code and like pull variable names that you can just like skip typing. It's just using it as slightly better intelligence is what is particularly good at. And for just that, I think it is worth it. And like tedious shit like this, right? It is just, I needed to remember we need to do something with get world, get time manager. And the moment I started typing GE after I added the set timer here, it just filled in pretty much the rest of this, which just the parameters in this case I need to change about. But we have a bit of a problem with the weapon visibility timer because that is not a... okay, so what we'll do instead is we'll make that into a blueprint related thing as well. It's not ideal, but sure. You function, I don't want blueprint callable, I want blueprint implementable event void set weapon vanish timer. Might as well put a float in for now. Does that make sense to put that in there? Might as well. No, actually, you don't make a definition for that. That's the whole point of a blueprint implementable event, is the fact that you don't have to make, or you shouldn't even make a definition for it, because you call it from C++, and then the code itself is blueprint code. So we set like timer. What did I fucking call this function again? Set weapon vanish timer. I mean, it's very descriptive. Let's set that to like 5 seconds. Of course. Don't I need to? Oh, it's because, yeah, no. Just 5 is already a float. Don't need to put F behind it. Just force of habit. If you do 5.0, you need to specify that as an F, I believe. Now we find the blueprint for our game mode. And we add in our set weapon vanish timer. There we go. So I'm just going to steal this one. Honestly. So we get our combo timer on our third person character. It's just 4 seconds at this point. 5 seconds, it doesn't really matter. Let's just hook that time up to there. That to there. Do we have a player already exposed to here? No, we don't. Might as well just make it a U property. Saves me having to cast an extra time. Let's make this read-only though, so I don't accidentally fuck anything up. I shouldn't, but just to be sure. Five F, that was just a mistake. What you can do as well is, this just knows that it's a float, but I'll just show you. You can also do 5.0 F, and there you need the F to make sure that it understands it's a float. Because if I now compile, you can see it has no problem. But if I compile again without the F, it is probably gonna yell at me because it doesn't understand that this is a float, and it just loses its fucking mind. Or it doesn't. Never mind. You don't actually need that anymore, apparently. Fine. Just putting in 5 is good enough. That'll do the trick. So that's why I put an F there, just because I'm kind of used to it. Get player, please. I still need to fucking cast it. No, okay, so that was worthless. Cast to third-person character, because of course that's casting to the blueprint version, not to the C++ version. Get. Hold on. It's the wrong fucking note that I copied over. I want to set the weapon visibility timer. Game mode, there we go. I want to set that after. So get weapon visibility timer. Don't actually need to do that, never mind, I'm an idiot. Okay, so now, if we exit combat, it should then, after 5 seconds on that object, remove our weapon. So we start with a weapon, probably should start with it being invisible. But now if we like do that and we run the fuck away. Listen out for the music to change. Give it 5 seconds. Our weapon should then disappear. There we go. And then when we... I really need to fix that as well. Because right now we're literally just like more or less teleporting. I need to put a maximum range on that, which actually can just be a variable as well. Yeah, probably, yeah. That's actually not going to be that difficult. Because what we can do is we can just put an extra variable in here. Max attack range. Which will be exposed. And the default value for that will be, first and foremost, a float and not a bool. Compile it again. And like 800 or something like that. And then in here, we're going to add a little bit of extra stuff again. Somewhere in here. Anyway. So when the closest enemy is valid, we usually apply root motion force to enemy location. We need to make a little bit of extra room here. Hold on. move things about a little bit more. So ability and move that way. Because we need to do a little bit of extra math here. Actor rotation will always be set appropriately anyway, but the enemy love, which should be enemy lock, will need to calculate some stuff for as well. So we get this already, and then also get the actor location for the player itself. And then we calculate the distance, which is just called dist, I believe. Distance vector. And we check whether or not that distance is less than or equal to our maximum attack range. And if that is true, we just attack the enemy location directly. If it is not, we'll have to calculate the point that we're going to be attacking, because I still want to have more of a forward boost than with this one, I think, but just not actually teleporting all over the fucking place, which would also fix up another bug that I've been having, hopefully. So what we do there is we get the look at rotation, which we already have everything we need. So we find the look at rotation, which actually I think, don't we already have that? We do, so never fucking mind any of that. And then we just simply multiply that by our maximum attack range. And then add that to our current location as well. That's quite important to do. So that should now disallow me to teleport like that. But it will still give me a nice boost of, like, in this case, 800 units. Like, instead of this very narrow forward boost, what it'll do is when I'm close enough, it'll... It's the wrong way around. I'm attacking away from him. Not even that. I think I'm attacking 90 degrees. That's actually interesting. That is actually interesting, because that's not how that should work. Something is going weird there. That makes sense. Never mind, we'll just do this anyway. That's the wrong node. I want to get rotation x vector from this. At some point in the future, I am sure that I will clean this up. And I only say that so that people don't complain about this being a mess. So this still works properly. Then when enemies are actually nearby, I will... You know? It's a fucking start, isn't it? It doesn't do shit. Because I'm not multiplying properly, probably. That would make sense. Yeah, I'm not multiplying anything at this point. Because I need to multiply this. There we go. See, everything makes sense. I'm just an idiot. Which, if that's news to you, welcome to the channel. It's good to have new people here. If you've been here any more than 5 minutes, you would have known that. Okay, so now... I still should have, like, quite a bit of range, but not actually teleport halfway across the map, like, into an enemy. 800 might even be a lot. Let's set the default to like 500. And then for the scythe attack, those can be a little bit more, right? The scythe itself has a longer range, but then also like the attacks for them will have longer ranges. Yeah, that feels a lot better as well from like a just pure satisfaction perspective. Yeah, that's good shit. That's that good shit. Okay, now let's... Can I manually set is falling to true when an enemy is flying? Probably not, right? I'm gonna try. Because that would be amazing if I could. Otherwise I need to think of something else. Which I don't really want to do if I'm being honest with you. But we'll figure it out. It's okay. This is pull to player. Can I? Can I? Can I? Can I? Oh, we also need to disable the movement for when that attack is happening, actually. We can just disable input for the time being, that's fine. Okay, character. Get character movement. Good enough. Okay, can I manually set is falling? Is falling? I can't. That's a little too bad because I just want to play the falling animation while they're not falling. So let's see if anybody has an issue with this or a solution rather for this already. Unreal force is falling value. Does it have like ground? Is moving on ground. Yeah, that's not really gonna help though, is it? We probably just need to make that a separate value. I guess. How do the animation blueprints for these fuckers work, actually? Is there anything that I can, like... It's not what I wanted to do. Is there any, like, existing mechanism that I can hook into, potentially? Because I don't really look forward to having another thing... Knockback. I don't even think they have full animation. I think they only have knockback animations, right? Yeah. That's right. And then knockback state is gotten from, let's say, a lot of stuff. But that might be... Okay, it's checking whether or not they're falling to begin with. But I can just add another value to this. I can just add another value to this, which will be simply just call this play falling animation, something like that. wonder if we can just make this a OR type deal. No, we probably won't be able to. For now, let's check if we make this an OR bool. If that makes things... It's gonna look real weird for a couple of them probably. But that might make things easier, because what we probably can do now, if this doesn't break the existing like knockback animation functionality that I have, we can just set that gameplay tag to true. And it seems like so far that holds true. That's not the ability that I wanted to use. Gonna be real with you. This one is, however. And that already does it, because they are falling apparently. For some fucking reason. But, you know, I don't really mind it because it works. So I'm not gonna bitch about it. I just need to see what it looks like on these guys as well. Come on, give me the mana that I need. Also, I figured out that I still have the bug where that lantern, if it's the last thing left, tries to heal itself and just infinitely keeps... You see, for that one it didn't work. Why didn't it work for those guys? Because I need to go into every single blueprint and change that around. But that's still not a big deal. This just works, so that's good. Oh, it is because the... Oh, I think I know why. I think I just realized why. I mean, I totally intended for all that to work, but... Nothing... Yeah. I'm setting them to stunned. So, it's not the is falling that's triggering it. It's the exact thing that I was planning on doing if everything worked out, and that is activation own tagged for this one, setting them to stunned. I did that anyway for like blocking their AI tree, their behavior tree. But now it's also doing stuff for the animation, so that's actually just great. Now all I need to do is go into every single animation blueprint, because I don't have like a parent animation blueprint, because that would have been altogether too fucking nice to do. I still could. I won't. Because like the tens of hours that I potentially will spend on that in the future are not worth the couple of hours, or like the 2 or so hours that'll take me right now to fix this up. So what we'll just do is we'll just go into every single one of these fuckers, and I'm just gonna one by one change the animation blueprints around. It's not that big a deal. I've got like 10 of them. It kind of depends. I think that for like testing out stuff, for like prototyping, Blueprint is actually faster in a lot of cases, because it's very easy to just like throw in a couple of nodes, compile, and immediately be back in the viewport. Whereas with native code, you need to like open this up. Compiling takes a lot longer. Like every time I compile on my CPU, which I have a 5950X from AMD, so I've got a 16-core CPU. Compiling my project takes me about 10.5 seconds every time I want to make a change. Of course, it depends on how many classes I've changed and stuff like that. So if you're going to do a lot of changes for like just prototyping, just checking, hey, if I tweak like this value a little bit, if I well, for values, you don't need to recompile, just expose those as variables, I suppose. If you're doing a lot of changes, I think Blueprint can be really good for that. The downside to it is that you can't as easily just like comment out a block of code. You can't as easily just like copy paste code around. Just putting it somewhere else, you then need to like reconnect a bunch of pins, which is really annoying to do. These folders are empty, right? Yes, they are. So there's definitely upsides and downsides to both of them. I think for like bigger production, like actual like full-on development, I should just straight up already work for this one then. And probably also for the lantern if I had to guess. For straight up like big full development, I think the amount of time you save by just like being able to produce the code itself, like big amounts of code, typing that is just going to be so much faster than Blueprint. So for like actual like working in a whole project, you definitely are going to waste a lot of time if you do your entire game in Blueprint, which is fine if you don't want to use C++, but definitely is the reason, one of the reasons that I started learning C++ like a while ago. How to imagine that? I think a decent amount of Fortnite is entirely Blueprint based. I know that Fortnite, I think, uses the gameplay ability system, which means that there's at least some C++ in there. But last time I heard, which is a while ago now, so it might have changed since then, but last time I heard, the way they develop Fortnite is they try to do as much of it as they can in Blueprint, and if they can't, then they know that Blueprint is missing something, and that's a reason to then add it to Blueprint, so that Blueprint is robust enough to make an entire game in. Now, that said, that is of course Epic themselves doing that for that reason. So I don't know if you should count that. But I've seen like plenty of people like on YouTube using a lot of Blueprints, and personally for me it's about like 40% Blueprint, 60% C++ or something like that. Specifically like gameplay ability system, I really like doing in Blueprint. Anything UI related, anything animation related, that's purely Blueprint. And a lot of that then pulls other code into Blueprint as well, because you can't access Blueprint code from C++. Well, you can, but it's bothersome. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was checking whether or not the new ability works as well. All that said, I don't know how much Fortnite these days is made in Blueprint. I would assume that they still have a somewhat similar like working process for that, because it seems like a good strategy. But I can also imagine at some point that those developers get really fucking tired of doing that all day. So, okay. That gives it a little bit more visual indication that they're being pulled towards us, right? The fact that they're squirming around like that, I like that. That said though, I did disable at some point one of my effects for this, which is not great. So let's try to find out which one that is, because I'm very bad at organizing stuff. Probably is pull-in effects, right? I think I could do with those particles actually being somewhat longer still. So let's initialize these particles at like 215. 220? And then these ones at 2.8. Let's check that the fuck out. Alright. Yeah, so the thing is that we need to, when we spawn in those particles, they need to spawn in a little bit higher. At this point I'm nitpicking, but Like at this point, we're getting to a stage where like nitpicking things a little bit is probably a good thing. Not tunnel visioning too much on things because I've got a lot of shit still to do. Like this needs to be done sooner or later anyway. I don't foresee this particularly changing a lot. So let's say that when we spawn in those things, we spawn them like just a little bit higher. I don't really care about the like the burst at the end where that I'm spawning in though. That I just changed. Let's check that first. It's kind of nice though that at this point the like weapon and ability system works well enough to the point where I just get caught up in it because I assume that I just have the scythe attack ready to go, but I don't because now it's actually linked to whatever I'm wielding at that time. Let's go for 250. It is this. It is this thing, so it needs to be just a little higher. 250 seemed like a lot, but that is spot on, actually. Yeah, that's more or less exactly what I would have liked. So, fantastic. Cool. How far along in the stream are we? About an hour and a half. Let's do a little bit of animation tweaking because I noticed some of the animations don't actually look like what I want them to look like. And I don't really think we have much else to do in terms of like combat coding anymore. Most of the things that I wanted to change up either are going to require a major rework of some existing systems, like the battle music system, which I still don't know what I'm going to do with, but at some point I really need to start working on that. Or they just like need more content in general, which I don't have at the moment. So let's go into my animation level and start working on some of that shit. Then we go back into, where is it? Animations, characters, player, level sequences, and then actually no, I want animation montages first. I want to check out what the fuck happened to my Scythe Attack 3 montage. It's this one. Because this seems to just entirely be using the wrong animation sequence. So can I like open up the... There used to be a button for that somewhere in here. Oh, that's in here. Added in sequencer. There we go. Open level sequence. Which level sequence is this that we have right now? Can we tell anywhere? Special attack, scythe attack. So it's using the wrong... It's just straight up using the wrong thing. That's fine. That's not fine. That's very not fine. Is it though? It might be. Because we still have the animation sequence for... we have special attack scythe and then scythe attack 3. So we can just make an animation montage of this, right? I don't understand how these things get mixed up. I moved from animating everything in Blender to animating everything in Unreal because Blender was weird with stuff, or Unreal was weird with stuff with importing. I don't know, but stuff happened weirdly with like IK. Didn't like it. Now I've moved everything over. I've made like a rig that is functional but a little less intuitive than what I had in Blender in Unreal to animate this thing, and now still things are getting like linked up weirdly. I am so fucking done with this shit. My god. Because somehow this sequence I'll just save it. Maybe that'll fix things. Sometimes that fixes things. It probably won't, but it's worth it's fucking worth checking. Scythe attack 3. Oh, that actually does fix things. My annoyance is with like the linking of the level sequences to the animation sequences persists. It's fucking stupid how that works, but at least it works. So, okay, that's one. That one needs to be fixed up, and then we have this one, the last one I mean, which now looks good again. Now I just need to fix up animation number 2, because that is not exactly the shape I want it to be. So let's go level sequences, Scythe attack 2. And there we can see... like the issue if I pause this, right, is that way too early on it starts... no, it really shouldn't. Huh. I guess what we maybe want to do is... I think it's this one, right, that we're working with. Maybe we do want to, like, pull this a little bit more straight like that. That doesn't look great. But that's only for the blend out of the animation anyway. That probably works. Nah, that probably works out fairly well. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe this is entirely fucked as well. I don't know. So we have 1. It feels a little bit too much like it's hitting you with the side of it instead of with like the sharp bit. But the actual animation itself doesn't seem to have anything to do with that. So maybe that's just something that we're not going to be able to fix up easily. Let's take a look at... Hold on. Never mind. So we've got 1, 2... But actually, like, the arm twist thing actually works out fairly well. Okay, so that animation also works well enough. Now, the only question is, do I maybe want to change the timing on, like, the pulling in effects for the other animation, which doesn't really have anything to do with these animations anymore. So that also kind of fixed itself up relatively quickly. I only needed to fix up 2 little things. Didn't even really need to open up this animation level. But here we are. So let's go back into our persistent world. Because maybe what I want to do is I want to just make the pulling in attack a little bit quicker, because it feels like it's a little slow right now. Like it takes a moment, and that, I don't know if that's a good thing. Maybe making that slightly slower would actually help a good bit. Did I say slightly slower? I mean slightly shorter, so slightly faster. So just give it a shot. Give it a shot. That's the only way we're gonna find out. Before I start messing with the animation, no, actually, the animation itself is the easiest thing to mess with, because we can just go into the montage in here and say, hey, the first 25-ish frames of this, we don't want to do anything. So that is, we start at 0.58. I don't know, the timing of this and like just this animation does feel a little bit more reasonable. But now we need to fix up the timing in a lot of our stuff as well. Because the particles and such are just like hard made to last a certain amount of time. So this is not going to look too good. So pull to player, duration would just be 1 second instead of 2 seconds, because I roughly removed a second. I will make it like 1.15 seconds or something like that. Does this feel more impactful? I mean, it does feel like the pool itself is a little bit stronger, so that's good. They do fall down a little bit too fast still, so let's start this at like 1.1. The particles will be the very last thing we update, because that's a little finicky to deal with. Let's just feel... I'm gonna be honest with you. That still feels like it might take a little on the longer side, but the fact that they move, that's actually pretty good. So if they keep being pulled in a little bit longer, like the speed of the pulling seems pretty good at this point. So if I just set this one to start at 1.4. I don't know how this is going to impact the other stuff. Like, will the root motion take priority over physics? We're about to find out. Hold on. I don't even need to do anything about the timing of the particles. Never mind. Because those particles just get removed or killed or ended. Deactivated, that's the word I'm looking for. At the end of the ability anyway. So apparently those aren't as hardcore as I thought they were. That does make it a lot more satisfying. Yeah, no. The speed there helps a lot. The speed helps so much in pulling them in. It does make the actual like attacks for the scythe, then by comparison make them even feel more sluggish. But that's like kinda the point, so that's more or less okay. Okay, I like that. I like that. I really do. Oh, hold on a second. Does dashing make my my weapon appear? I need mana in order to dash. It fucking does. Didn't think about that. Did not think about that. How am I gonna deal with that? Because I guess I just do the what it's doing right now, if I recall correctly, is just setting the mesh and all of its children to visible and then invisible. Oh, but that's actually annoying because when I dash, it's always going to make the weapon invisible. I don't think I can get around that, because if the weapon is visible and I don't set it to invisible, that's going to be really weird. I suppose what I can do... No, I have an idea. I can just store the visibility state of the weapon and restore that whenever the dash ends. But then... if it's supposed to disappear in the time that I'm doing the dash, it will make it reappear and then it won't disappear again. So I think it'll just be easier to say, hey, when you dash, your weapon disappears and you're going to have to like just resummon it. Yeah, I think that's the way we're going to do it, because I just can't be asked otherwise. So everything does become invisible, but then on ability end, we toggle visibility for mesh. We don't propagate to children. And we also just simply do it for the mask. I don't even know why I made the mask a separate mesh and not just part of the skeletal mesh at this point. Mask. Oh, what the fuck did I call that? Is that just... Wait, is it part of the... Oh, that's not the proper actor. PP, no... sword base. Gameplay queue. Sword base again. Third person character. There we go. It's just called static mesh. Let's call this mask. I think at some point I had the idea of making the masks like interchangeable, like cosmetics that you can equip and unequip, and then I never did that, and I don't think I'm gonna do it. So get mask. There we go. And we simply set that back to visible as well. So now, why the fuck? It's because I haven't compiled this yet. Okay, that's fair. So now it will just always make my weapon Why? Why can I not dash in that direction? I can, but only when I don't have a weapon. Why is my weapon not... So what the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening in my life? I am so confused. Hold on. Sword. Yeah, that should just show up. Oh, no. That was the whole problem. Because now the entire... We can figure this out. Hold on. It's making the entire components invisible instead of just the mesh in the components being invisible. So that still is an issue. We'll figure this out. Not to worry. We'll figure this out at some point. Where's the thing to set these invisible? There we go. We'll just set the mask to... that's not the proper pin. Get mask. Yeah, that's just what game development is like. So I can't complain too much about things just randomly not working. It's not even randomly. I'm just like an idiot. Okay, so now the weapon shouldn't disappear when I dash. That's gonna look real fucking weird, isn't it? Yeah. So what we'll do instead is I'm just gonna try what it looks like if I say, hey, vanish or hide weapon. Is this gonna look particularly weird? It might. But I think I might have a way to make that work. Because if I just add a bool parameter... Yeah, that's still weird. But now it also does that. Yeah, no. Okay, that looks weird. So if I add a bool parameter to that function call, I can just say, hey, hide weapon with or without the visual effects that go with it. So all I need to do now is find wherever the fuck I put that blueprint interface, which is right here, apparently. So we can say appear effects, the inputs for which are going to be a bool, show effects. And we might as well do it for the vanish effects as well, because that's actually a thing that we're trying to do it for to begin with. Show FX. Just need to replace the actual... No, we don't actually, because I keep forgetting that this is a thing that you can do. You can refresh nodes, which I wish I knew that was a possibility. With the show weapon and the hide weapon, I'll pull through that as a parameter. I don't think we need that for the event. I don't even know when the events get triggered, to be honest with you. I don't even know if we use those events anymore. But it doesn't really hurt having those in there, so that's fine. Oh, but there is one issue. There's one issue, because we're setting these by timer. In here, I believe. And setting these by timer is a problem. Because I don't know if you can do that in Blueprints. Unreal set function by timer with parameters. That feels like Blueprint is not going to be able to do that. I'll be 100% real with you. Because how would you, right? Okay, so the default value that it's going to go with is false. So we'll just swap this around. We'll just make it hide effects. Because that's easier than... I mean, it's still unintuitive to work with, and I'm gonna hate myself in like a bit for doing this. But the default value will be false, so if I call them by timer, these values are just gonna be false. And then in the blueprint, that's the wrong one as well. I'm going to start closing down some of these things that I don't actually use. Like the game mode, disability, all of these fucking animation blueprints. Particles. No. Default sort. Okay. Hide effects means that we set the visibility either way. We just check, hey, if hide effects is true, we immediately do that, set visibility. And if that is false, we will just do the thing. This kind of gets around the whole issue. And frankly, this is just easier to do anyway. Otherwise, I need to now go back into C++, make the interface a C++ interface, call that. That's just a nightmare. I'm not going to do that. Why will you not... Oh, appear effects. You just need that to be refreshed. Is that the issue? We don't want to hide the effects. Okay, while we're at it, open up chat again, because I kind of closed that down for a moment there. While we're at it, we might as well do the same thing for the scythe. It's just a couple of nodes to add, it's fine. It's fine. So we hide effects. Hook those up. Quite important. All that said, this is another fucking point of failure where I can mess up my code and get really confused on what the hell's happening when something goes wrong. Hold on. I need to do some other stuff here. Needs to be that one. There we go. There we go. Yeah, the particles for this particular one are a little bit more complex than for just the sword. So I need to bypass a couple more nodes. Now, in theory, that should still have everything we had working work, but now also it's not going to hide the particles because I didn't change it into one place that it was actually important at. But anyway, let's test this anyway. So, I mean that's something. And now when it just disappears like this, it still has the particles, right? Why don't you disappear? Oh my god. Okay, so maybe we have to do this in another way after all. Let's just wait around for a couple of seconds here. See if the sword disappears, because I don't think it will. Yeah, it's not going to do that. Okay. Plan B is not sending through this information, so we can just get rid of those because we're not using this anymore. which is then going to probably cause some issues somewhere. We'll worry about that later. And what we'll do is I'll just make more custom events. Show weapon no FX and hide weapon no FX. But first, let's see if this is actually the issue. Because I might be just misunderstanding what the actual issue is. So let's take this like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that seems to work. Does it also work after it's been disappeared from the dash still? It does. Okay, good. At least all that works. And then we can just copy this over up here, and we'll copy all this over as well for disappearing. That's fine. And here we do want to hide the FX. Okay, so now back into our dashing ability. That's what we were working to begin with. So instead of hiding the weapon, what we do is we hide weapon, no FX. So hide weapon, no FX. Okay, that checks out. That seems to work. I don't know why the dash itself is being weird now, where it's only like sometimes it's getting stuck on the fucking floor. Is that it? Surely that's not it, right? Sometimes it just decides, hey, we're going to be facing that way. What way is that way? That's a fantastic question. Can we get a... Let's just do this like this actually. It is in the X negative direction. Why? Why does it sometimes just decide to, hey, I'm going to be facing in the X negative direction and not move at all? Because it gets the last input vector, which can be 0. But it's only supposed to do that. Why do I even do that? Why don't I just use the forward vector to begin with? What the fuck? There's probably a reason for that. But we're going to find out right now whether that reason was valid or not. Because I feel like it really wasn't. Yeah, I think we should just always use the forward vector, to be honest. Oh, that's the reason. Yeah, now if I remember. Using the forward vector means that we always like have to actually turn our character around, which takes a second before we can dash. And if you want to dash away from an enemy, what you want to be able to do is just mesh the... that's exactly what would happen otherwise. Is you want to be able to just mash the walk back button and then immediately dash and dash away, rather than having to wait a split second for you to turn around. Test players like unanimously hated that. Oh, I was not looking at Twitch chat. I'm very sorry, Green Coke. I was very busy there for a moment. Welcome. Two keyframes too close to each other. Do you have chat open? I'm curious. I did. I just wasn't looking. When was this message even sent? Probably like a while ago, because I was working with the animations, I guess? I don't know. I should do a better job of keeping track of both chats. It's kind of annoying to look at both. I'm sorry. So yeah, that is actually quite important, but I also need to then check in the player dash whether or not the last inputs. It's a little bit of a roundabout way of doing things, what I'm going to do now, but it's gonna work. So if the velocity length is not more than 0, it's going to try to get the input vector, but the input vector, what I assume is happening is that the last input vector is just 0. So we get the length here as well. And we check whether or not that one is greater than 0. If it is, we do this. And if it is not, we use the forward vector anyway. I think that might fix the issue. Oh, I understand. I don't understand. Well, I understand partly. I'm getting my character's velocity, and if I'm dashing while I'm moving, but not pressing any inputs, that is what triggers me just turning around and not moving forward. I don't know why it doesn't move forward. I guess the world direction is just 0, 0, 0 at that point. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That entirely does make sense. What doesn't make sense is... Let's print this value. Debugging, always fun. So okay, that value is 0, 0, 0. There's a issue here anyway, and that is that okay, I'll do this some other way. So what we'll do instead is we'll prioritize the last input vector unless it is 0, at which point we'll use the forward vector. So if it's greater than 0, we use the last input vector. If it is not, we'll use the forward vector. It's just kind of turning things around. I'm still going to put a print string in there, just to check. So that's 0, 0, 0. We've got some inputs. I think this fixed it. And I still can, just like on a moment's notice, now switch with the dash, which is like the most important feature. So the dash, and that's the important part. I need to dash to when you are using like a movement direction. I need the dash to always snap to whatever direction you're trying to move in, not the direction that you're currently moving in. And it does seem to be doing that now, so that's a good thing. Okay, we made I don't know what happened there. We made a good little bit of like progress there, and oh my god, that makes that so much more satisfying to do. We made a good bit of progress in like the combats, and for now I do think for the time being we'll have finished all of the changes we need to make to the weapon systems. So next time I think we might start on ending off the dungeon design for the first major dungeon of the game, which I also need to remake the cutscene I made at some point to get to that point. I'm gonna pretend like these guys aren't just hanging out and doing nothing, because that just kind of makes me sad seeing that they don't work anymore for whatever fucking reason. Which also then includes eventually, I'm thinking the boss that at some point like a month ago we made in ZBrush, I'm going to significantly reevaluate that design because I don't think that design is going to work that well. So I'm going to talk to ChatGPT a lot, is what I'm saying. To come up with a slightly better boss design for that. I know what the boss will do like in gameplay terms. It's gonna have a fun little ability to deal with, which I hope is gonna be fun. Let's just say that I hope it's gonna be fun. But I'm going to need to have a different design for it because the design I have right now is just bad. And I thought I was gonna like add in some cool particles and do things with cloth physics, but I thought it over a little bit more, and that's gonna fuck things up so badly. That's like not gonna look good. So before I even bother importing that into Blender, retopologizing it, animating it, and then figuring out it's not gonna work, well, just skip all those steps and just do a redesign on that boss fight. So we need to do that as well. And then we'll have the first proper dungeon, version 1, fixed up. Of course, I still need to make the minigame for it as well, because we're gonna need to do some minigame development, which is probably gonna be fun. Like a little microcosm of game development for each dungeon, just like a almost game jam type turnaround, you know? So there's quite a lot to do there, and in the meantime, I'm going to keep thinking about the thematics of the last 2 dungeons that I need to still like sketch out for like the layout for them. And then it's just like a year of building a lot of shit. And at some point we're going to need to redesign the music system. But for that, I think I kind of just like need music to begin with, right? Music system works well enough as it is right now. If I just have better music, add a little bit of a fade in, a little bit of a fade out. Maybe add some like low HP music as well. I don't know. I have some ideas for like much more dynamic music systems than I have right now. But that would require a lot of work and working with an actual composer instead of AI generating the music, because the music that's in it right now is AI generated, which ideally is a placeholder, but I am prepared to publish it with this music in it if need be. There's a lot of stuff to be working on still, so we'll keep going next time. Thanks everybody for dropping in and having fun. And I'll be back on Monday with probably a little bit of level blocking. It's been a while since we've done that.